Well, hello and a very warm welcome to tonight or today's special webinar, depending on which part of the world you're based in. 7 proven LinkedIn strategies for cracking the hidden job market, and we'll get into what the hidden job market is in due course. But I'm just going to take the opportunity now as people arrive. We've got quite a few people booked in for this session. So I'm just going to say a few hellos, and if you'd like to, in fact, let me throw it over to you. If you can find the question box on your GoToWebinar control panel, and just type in your name and where you're from, which city you're from, where you're dialing in from. That will be great, and I'll give you a formal welcome. You'll see that the session is live. Hi Darren in London. There we go. Hi Rob in Brussels. Stuart in London. Steve in have I said that right? Harlersville. John in the UK. Pete in London. So quite a few people in London. A few people in Europe. And in the States. Diane from the USA. Okay, quite a few people. Good. So keep those coming. I know you can hear me, and you can hopefully see the screen. You should see my logo at the top, the LinkedIn logo, and then the title: 7 proven LinkedIn strategies for cracking the hidden job market. Hello to Ed in Nottingham, Ram from India. And 1 or 2 other people joining now. Just as people land in the room, just a quick bit of housekeeping. This is it's a very robust system that we're using, GoToWebinar, one of the industry leaders. If for any reason you lose audio, you lose visual connection, the best bet is to just log out and then log back in using the same link that you had confirmed. We'll still be here. Victoria and I will still be here when I introduce Victoria. If we get cut off for whatever reason, a power out, it has happened to me before, then just stay put in the room, and I'll be back to you. We'll be back to you to continue the webinar. We are going to run for about 45 minutes of content, and then we're going to allow for about 15 minutes of Q&A at the end. If you do have questions as we go through, we're covering quite a lot on this session. If you do have questions, feel free to type those questions into the question box as we go. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this, and if the question is relevant to what we're talking about at that moment, I may deal with that question or throw that to Victoria to deal with that question as we go along. But what we'll do our best to get through all of the questions by the end of the session. So just feel free to type those in the question box. That's your way to communicate with Victoria and I as we go through the session. This is our second webinar together. Some of you on the line are my Executive Edge clients. You will have no doubt seen the previous webinar I did with Victoria about a year ago, again about LinkedIn. And the story is that we met through LinkedIn. I was looking to do an international collaboration. Victoria is based in the States. I'm based in the UK. And first webinar was very successful, and it's been watched quite a few times through YouTube and various other channels. So hopefully you'll enjoy the content, I should say, this evening or today, if you are over in the States. And we'll crack on now, as most people I think we're expecting are here. So what are we going to cover? What are we going to cover on the session? Well, we're going to cover 3 things really, or 2 main things, and then deal with your Q&A. The first thing we're going to talk about is the what and why of the hidden job markets. I think from talking to people that I initially engage with who land through my website, most people have an appreciation that there is this thing called the hidden job market. But what quite a lot of people don't have a detailed understanding of is what it really is and why it's so important. And for the context of tonight's webinar, LinkedIn, why LinkedIn is absolutely essential in providing that link between employer and candidate in the hidden job market. We're then going to talk about 7 proven LinkedIn strategies to open up opportunities. So I imagine most of you, just tell me if I'm right, a yes in the question box if you would. If you're on LinkedIn currently, just give me a yes. If you're not, give me a no. But we're going to discuss 7 LinkedIn strategies, or 7 things that you need to be aware of on LinkedIn to open up opportunities in the hidden markets. Now, some of these things may be familiar to you. In fact, quite a few of them will probably be familiar to you, but what we'll endeavor to do is to dive a bit deeper to make sure you fully understand how to set yours up and how to use these things proactively. And then, as I said, we'll do the Q&A. We'll just dive into a quick introduction. Quite a few of you on the line I know. For those of you that I don't know, hello, good to meet you for the very first time. As a quick background, who am I and why am I doing this? I run a business called Career Codex. I work with executive clients from across the world to help them navigate the job market successfully. And what that really means is not just relying on recruiters, not just relying on job boards, but actually deciding what they want and then going into the hidden market to either uncover it or sometimes even create it. Backgrounds, 15, 16 years ago, I trained as a chartered accountant, then spent about 10 years in the recruitment industry, first as a recruiter for an agency, and then started my own business in 2008, just as the financial crisis hit. Timing was quite difficult, but made that business a success. But I got a bit frustrated because I had knowledge that I developed through the recruitment industry that I wanted to share with my candidates, but being a recruiter, it was difficult to do that. So I've written 3 books. The book probably most relevant to most people on this call is Super Secrets of Successful Executive Job Search, and that outlines the system I developed, the 4-stage system for navigating the executive job market successfully. So if you want to have a check out of that on Amazon, then please feel free. I'm very pleased on this call to be joined by Victoria again. I'm going to flick through to Victoria's slide, but I'm not going to steal her thunder. Are you there, Victoria?
I'm here, Simon.
Fantastic. Well, welcome. Glad to have you on the call once again for our joint webinar. Truly international. Yeah, truly international webinar again. I'll leave you now to introduce yourself, if that's okay.
Okay. So let's see. It's good to see everybody coming in and to see that there's such an interest in learning these hidden job market strategies. I think as time goes on, more and more people are sort of confused and overwhelmed by what they should do to find those jobs that maybe are not so highly visible in job advertisements. And that's really where what I do in my company, the Ipri Group, does, and it really matches well with the services that Simon provides. So just a quick background on me. I left corporate healthcare marketing in 2006 to start my own business. I went through many iterations of what it was that business did. And today, the Ipri Group has grown quite nicely, and we provide services for job seekers. So resume writing, profile optimization, LinkedIn profiles, various forms of cover letters. Some are custom, some are ones you can customize yourself. Some coaching around this topic of job hunting, and also ATS coaching. So we're probably not going to get too deep into it today, but ATS is the applicant tracking system that many of you may be familiar with when you're putting out job applications. I had a woman who called me and told me that the ATS was evil. And because it was evil, she could not work with me. So I didn't work with her, but I always remembered that she said it was evil. She had had some bad experiences, but there's a way to get around the way the ATS can kind of block your resume from getting through to a human. So we'll touch on that a little bit as we go forward. So that's my thing, Simon. I'm thrilled to be here, and I can't wait to get into this information.
Good. And you've got your, I think one of your books. You've written a few books, haven't you? You've got one of your books on the left of the screen there. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I wrote LinkedIn for the Clueless several years ago, and it's been republished as the years have gone by, probably 2 or 3 times. It's got some great information inside that you can use even today, although I will give you fair warning that it probably needs to be rewritten again since LinkedIn changes things so frequently, but you can find it on Amazon. When I first came out, just a side note, when I first came out with that book, some people were shocked that I would have a book title calling other people clueless. But this is what people often would say to me when they contacted me. I'm just so clueless about LinkedIn. And so that's why I chose the name for the book. Just thought you'd enjoy that.
Hey, I think that's quite a good title. We have a series of books in the UK, which is everything that you want to know for dummies. So that's probably even more.
There you go, dummies series.
More on the edge, and they've made some money, so I wouldn't worry too much. Okay, let's jump into the hidden job market and the what and the why of the hidden job market. I'll just give a brief overview as to what I believe it is, and then Victor, I'll bring you in to give your kind of definition and thoughts on what that is. The what of the hidden job market, it really is about the fact and how employers make recruitment decisions. And as a professional recruiter for many years, what I would always see, or generally see, is that employers, before they would engage my services, would be trying to find candidates themselves through their immediate network, extended network, and they'd ask the question, who do you know, to the people around them, because they trusted them, and a trusted recommendation is worth 10 times any other kind of introduction. So that's where the hidden job market revealed itself to me. And what I would find is that my candidates sometimes were finding jobs directly through their networks, before ever coming to me as a recruiter to help them. And if you think about why employers might do that, well, employers would do that because they get a recommendation. It can be sometimes faster. But the big thing is there's no recruitment fee to pay, and at the executive level there can be sizable recruitment fees to be paid, sometimes partly in advance on a retained basis. So it can be a quicker, more cost-effective way for employers to find the people that they're looking for. Now, for many years the hidden market was limited to employers' networks, but with the advent of LinkedIn, suddenly employers have the database that recruiters have always had, a better database, in fact, at their fingertips. And certainly when I left the recruitment industry, the database that I was using on a daily basis, more often than not, was not my own database, my own CRM, but it was LinkedIn, because I had access to active candidates, but also passive candidates. And employers can do this now directly. So the hidden market's got bigger. What the hidden market is and why you need to think about the hidden market, being active in the job market at whatever level, is if you can position yourself to be found in the hidden job market, you get ahead of the job market, you get ahead of your competition. What it means is you are more likely to start a conversation with an employer early on in their recruitment decisions. What that means is you can help inform what that role might look like. And in some instances, some of the clients that I've worked with through positioning themselves correctly on LinkedIn have actually started a dialogue with an employer that has turned into an opportunity that the employer had never even thought about, taking advantage of this individual's skills. So that's kind of my definition of the hidden market. Victoria, what would you have to say on the hidden market from your side?
Right. Well, I'm on the helping people with LinkedIn side of things. So to me, as you already said, it's really, really important to get your profile optimized. And we'll be talking about what that means to optimize your profile. Some people who are listening now have had this done professionally before, but the issue with profiles is that as technology changes, and we know it changes so quickly, so does the need to keep your profile well optimized. Things change in your career, things change in the kinds of content you can share with other people. So it's an ongoing thing. And the real beauty of LinkedIn is that you can change your profile anytime you want, on a dime. A resume, once you hand that to someone or it gets submitted to them online, it's gone. That's all they know about you. That's the picture they have of you. But your profile is sort of a living, breathing document that you can change when needed to give people the most up-to-date version of you, who you are.
And the onus is on the individual, which is why as a recruiter, LinkedIn was so valuable, because as soon as you have a CRM that you own as a recruiter, it's out of date. But everyone has a vested interest to keep their LinkedIn profile up to date, which is why I think it's so powerful. And in terms of, from your experience, Victoria, in terms of people finding opportunities either through job boards or recruiters or the hidden market, so through networks, what's kind of the feel over there in the States at the moment? How people are transitioning?
I think LinkedIn users in general, and especially job seekers in particular, wonder about this question of how big should your network be? So for example, my network is very large. I've been doing this since 2006. Lots of people have connected with me and I've connected with a lot of them. But I'm a marketer at heart, and other people may be in various different industries where they are not involved in necessarily marketing. So whether your network should be really large or whether you should keep it small and kind of private is certainly your decision. But just remember that the more people you connect with meaningfully, not just connecting with random people, the more opportunity you have for those doors to the hidden job market to unlock for you. Because I think Simon would agree with me that one of the most crucial ways to find some of those jobs is through people who know you, know your skills, and feel familiar enough with you that they can send you a message and say, hey, guess what? I know about this opportunity and it's not advertised yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Head of the market. It's the higher probability place to play. Once the jobs are on the job boards or with the recruiters, there's hundreds and hundreds of people usually. I remember my last piece of recruitment I did before I left my own business. I was recruiting a CFO in London. and I think I put an advert, as recruiters often do, put an advert on one of the job boards, and I think within 24 hours I had something like 200 applications. Even if you have the best skills and experience, you're going to get lost in the mix, which is why getting ahead of the market is so important. Okay, let's jump into these 7 proven LinkedIn strategies. And these kind of 7 proven LinkedIn strategies, they are strategies because they're things you need to make a decision on as to how you use them. If you do use them, it's going to help you. But they're also principles, and some of the things we'll be talking about are either strategies or principles, but all are valuable in terms of positioning yourself properly and using the platform properly. So one of the questions that I get asked quite often is whether people should have a free versus a paid or premium account. And this can be quite a difficult decision. Probably about 2 years ago, my advice was, well, you probably don't need a paid account. You can do most things with a free account. But since Microsoft acquired LinkedIn, I think quite a lot of the search functionality and also some of the bells and whistles stuff has been put behind a paid account. And of course, these online networking platforms, they started out life as one thing, but now, of course, they need to make money to be viable for their investors and owners and whatever else. So a few things why I would recommend a paid profile, and we'll talk about what those profiles what those options might be in a moment. One of the things is you can see who's viewed your profile, which can be very useful. Are you attracting the right people to your LinkedIn profile? The big thing for me, and the reason that I switched to a paid profile, is because if you're making a number of, let's say you're making 2 or 3 connection requests per week on LinkedIn, and suddenly because you get very active on LinkedIn, you're making 20, 30. LinkedIn's going to see that as potentially unusual activity, and they're going to stop you. They're going to pause you until that activity catches up with kind of normal behavior, if you like. So I was finding that using LinkedIn on a daily basis, and I use some automation, some of you will know on LinkedIn, that I was being stopped in my tracks from using the platform as I wanted to use it, which was one of the reasons that I went to a paid platform. Some of the communication stuff we're going to come on to shortly, things like InMail, Open Profile, they're available to paid users. So for me, it is an investment decision. And it's a worthwhile investment decision. Most of my business comes through LinkedIn, and from certainly talking to my clients, and quite a few of my clients, current or former clients, are on now. I think most would agree that a premium or paid package is now worth its weight in gold if you're using things properly and doing things consistently. What would you say? What would you say, Victoria, on that?
I would say you're absolutely correct about that. As to the issue of how many connections you can have and all these things you can do with premium tools, a common question I get is, well, how many connections can a person actually have? So LinkedIn allows each user to have 30,000 first connections. What would you do with 30,000 first connections? I couldn't tell you. I don't think that's really necessary, but for some people, maybe it is. So that's the limit. However, they only give you 3,000 outgoing invitations for the lifetime of your LinkedIn account. So you might wonder, well, if I only get 3,000 invitations, how could I ever get up to 30,000 first connections? The answer to that is the way that LinkedIn allows you to build networks. You might remember in the past that we could see graphs of our first connections, second connections, and third connections. They've taken that away. We can't see that anymore. But when you connect to someone directly, you are becoming second connections to all of their first connections. And in various ways that I'm not going to delineate now, you can see those second connections and you can market to them, attract them to you, do various things. It's a whole nother level you haven't even drilled down into yet. So that's how it happens. People start asking.
So those numbers, Victoria, can you just run those past us again? There's 30,000 and then there's 3,000. Could you just break that down again, because they're pretty important?
30,000 first connections is the cap for LinkedIn users, regardless of their subscription type, and 3,000 outgoing invitations is the cap per user per lifetime of their account with LinkedIn.
Has that changed recently?
Someone was telling me it changed to 5,000, but I have not been able to prove that yet.
So if you send out 3,000 connection requests, and those connection requests, they're kind of pending because not everyone's going to connect back to you immediately. Is that
Right.
it? You're done and dusted?
Yep, that's it.
Wow.
Of
Wow.
course, you
Okay.
don't want to send out 3,000 requests, especially close together, like you were saying, because
Yeah.
that can get you paused, or it can even get your wrist slapped with a temporary account suspension, and nobody wants
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. There the automation that I use, there are ways around that I won't get into on this
Right.
session, but yeah, that surprised me. I'd not come across the
There's
3,000.
some new information. I also wanted to mention, now that we're looking at this page here, people often ask, well, what are the prices? How much is this going to cost me? So there used to be a level called the job seeker. It's now called premium career, which you can see on the page here. So that's sort of the job seeker level. It is a premium level, so you get a lot of the advantages with other premium tools and features and so forth, but it costs about $1 a day, about $30 a month. So, and your first month is free. So you can do a 30-day trial, and then that rolls over into your actual months that you pay for. So you're talking maybe $300 for the year. And LinkedIn offers a 20% discount if you pay annually. So you can get the cost down even further. And even if you do pay annually and decide to get out of it before the year is up, you can get out of it and they will refund the balance. So there's not a downside that I can see for job seekers to jump into this premium career subscription. They're going to get a lot of good benefits from it, and it's $1 a day investment.
And you can try it for free, can't you, for 30
Trial for
days?
30 days, yeah.
Yeah. If you go into the help center, which
Yes.
I did when I signed up for Sales Navigator, I asked for a 90-day trial and I got one. So I used Sales Navigator for 90 days. So I would definitely,
Wow, that's great.
yeah, I can be quite persuasive.
So you might have to
Hey,
all hype that.
yeah, we have a question. Ed's got a question. It's quite a technical one, so let's see if we can deal with it. I want to throw this over to you, Victoria. Does the cap on invitations include when LinkedIn suggests you send it, like when it goes through your address book? You know, when it encourages you to send connection request to your address book, is that included in the 3,000?
If you take the steps manually to invite someone LinkedIn has suggested you invite, that will count. If LinkedIn invites them on your behalf, which they should not be doing, but there is still some of that going on, that would not count towards your 3,000 invitations.
Right.
If you sync your address book, sometimes LinkedIn will say, hey, sync your address book. We won't send out any emails without your permission. Kind of doesn't really work that way. Once you sync your address book, they have access to everyone you've ever sent an email to from that email address. So if you returned an item to a store and you emailed them about it, that place, that store, or that individual will receive a LinkedIn invitation from you. If you think that through a little bit, it gets sticky, depending on who gets the invitation. So
I never do that. It's kind of
yes,
big brother stuff, and
not sync.
yeah.
Anything.
Okay.
When they say anything about syncing anything, just say no.
Okay. Good. And just for everyone on the call, this link here, which will take you to the page which explains the different types of options you have. I've just shared that about 2 or 3 minutes ago in the question box, so you can pick that up there. Okay, let's move forward. Let's move on to number 2. So articles and activity. Articles and activity, I think, are the heartbeat of LinkedIn. And articles, for those of you not familiar, articles used to be published posts. They're now articles. So these are the long form content. So these are the things where you see people blogging on LinkedIn. Posts are more to do with commenting, liking, sharing a link through your feed, and the two of them combine to form all activity. If I just pull up my LinkedIn profile here, I just want to emphasize one point on that. If you look where your activity sits now, ignoring this, which only I can see, your articles and activities sit quite near the top of your profile. So having published content that establishes you as a thought leader in your particular space, and for those of you on the line who are my clients, you'll know that I talk about your destination, being clear about your specialism, so you can communicate that to your target audience. With the visual content here, this can be quite useful in making your profile sticky and communicating your message and for people to research you in more depth other than your skills and experience down here. So articles and activity are important. In terms of activity, if you look here and posts, you have the option to write an article. That's the article thing we've spoken about. Share an image, even share video now directly into LinkedIn, which is a fairly new feature. But sharing content, sharing URLs, sharing either content you've created or curated content, i.e. content that you have read and has resonated with you, and spinning your opinion on it and why people in your feed might want to look at it. It just keeps you front of house, front of mind with your first tier connections who can see what's going on in your feed. Victoria, over to you on articles and activity. Why are they so important, and what recommendations
They
do
are
you
really important, both of them, articles and activity. However, for job seekers, my recommendation is to go towards the activity and don't be too concerned about the articles. The articles are more for people who are marketing their own products and services, or who want to share some kind of tactic with other people as a soft pitch for their services. So for job seekers, I can't really see a lot of job seekers writing articles about what are they going to write articles about. They're looking for a job. So I think the activity on LinkedIn, and you may disagree with me on this, but I think the activity is far more important because it appears on your profile as you had shown. Can you go back to that for just a moment?
Yep.
Your profile in the activity section. So you'll see, looking at Simon's here, he has all business related activity and articles. You don't see any of his activity where he is, I don't know, sharing how much he likes someone's plate of food, right? That's a Facebook kind of thing. You see it happening on LinkedIn, but it's not really appropriate in a business environment. So Simon's doing it right. So when you like article, other people, you should, the whole thing about LinkedIn is based on the principle of reciprocity, which is that you're going to do something for someone else that's valuable to them without expecting anything in return. So what is it you can do as a job seeker for other people that makes them say, hey, this is a good person. Maybe I will endorse her, or maybe I will recommend him, or whatever the case may be. And that is because, I just lost my thought. I hate when that happens.
Hey, don't worry. Let me throw in a question.
I have such a great thing to say too. Just went out of my head. I wanted to say, if your only action on LinkedIn is browsing new jobs, you're going to miss out on a lot. So you don't necessarily have to publish articles, but you should be active. And reciprocity is created when you like or comment or share something someone else has posted. The way LinkedIn's algorithm is set up, it's set up to reward you in terms of visibility based on how active you are on the site. So the more activity you have going on each day, the more you will gain visibility in the networks of other people who can be valuable to you.
Yeah, and that's
what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Well, I do have a slightly different opinion on articles. What I encourage which is good. It's good to have a slightly different opinion. What I encourage my clients to do who are transitioning in the job market is not to communicate here that they are looking for a job, but to communicate their expertise. They're all executives, so it's senior level expertise that speaks into the problems or aspirations of their target organizations, target businesses, and then share this periodically in their feed, because this keeps it front of house with your first tier connections. Right. We have a couple of questions actually.
Yes.
Just jumping back to the premium subscription that we dealt with previously. Number one, does having a premium subscription put your profile up in front of recruiters or employers? Now this potentially is career interests we're talking about here. I'm not sure.
No, I would say overall the answer is no. Just having a profile is not going to put you in front of recruiters. Having a well-optimized profile and using that little button, which we're not going to get into today, but you might be able to show them, Simon, from your profile, that little green button you turn on that tells recruiters you're open to hearing about new opportunities. It's up a little bit higher on your profile.
Yeah.
Where it says, right scooch down one, it says let recruiters know in the dashboard area.
Dashboard. You can get to it from here, I think, as well, can't you?
Probably.
here, career interests.
Anyway, there's a button on the profile that you can turn on, which lets recruiters know you're open to hear about new opportunities.
Yeah.
There's the button right there.
Yeah, you can access it through jobs,
yes,
career
or through
interests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is not a button that broadcasts anything about you to the general population of LinkedIn. It just lets recruiters know that you're open to new opportunities. So it's a cool little tool that you should be using if you're job seeking.
Yeah, the recruiters, if they've got the right premium subscription, LinkedIn tried to sell me this premium subscription because they sometimes think I'm still in the recruitment game, which I'm not. They tried to sell me this premium subscription for recruiters where you can actually see what people have filled in here. But the warning here is we will take steps not to show your current company that you're open, but we can't guarantee it. So yeah, there's a kind of warning there, disclaimer there to be aware of. Pete's jumped in. Pete, your question is about skills and endorsements. I'm going to come to that when we get to skills and endorsements, but it's a great question. So we'll get to that in a moment. All right, we better move forward. Time goes so quickly on these webinars. So let's get to 3, communication. And how do you communicate with people on LinkedIn? Well, the best bit of advice I had on communication on LinkedIn, and although I said I use some automation earlier on, but it's for a very special reason. LinkedIn is all about one-to-one communication, one-to-one relationships. The kind of low touch point to start to build a relationship with someone on LinkedIn is to like, comment, or share their posts, what they're putting in their feed. You can connect to people directly. LinkedIn will ask you to add a note or say, do you want to add a note? You always have to personalize your connection request. If you don't personalize your connection request, it may not be clear to the person you're connecting to as to why you wish to connect, and they may click a button that says they don't know you, which can cause you a problem if you get too many of those with LinkedIn. Group connections are important as well. If you are in a particular group, and it's the group that contains people that you're trying to build relationships with, people can message you directly through groups as a group connection. And then for the paid premium, as you can see on the screen, you have InMail, which is basically paid email. I tend to steer clear of that. I tend to just go for direct connection requests or something called open profile. And what open profile means is that if you have this feature switched on, it means people can contact you directly for free, even if they're not connected with you. So it just makes you more accessible to people who might want to get in touch without using one of their InMail credits. What are your thoughts on communication through LinkedIn, Victoria?
Well, I agree with you about the open profile, since it allows anyone who's on LinkedIn to contact you with no charge like they do for InMails or other features. Even if you aren't first connected or second connected, all LinkedIn members can see the full profiles of premium members who have enabled this open profile feature. So this is one great way, if you have a premium subscription, to get more visibility and just be more open to people wanting to send you opportunities and things that are important to you. Of course, you may get some things you don't want to receive, and that's to be expected, but it does increase visibility.
Okay.
So that's my thought on open profile. Lots of people ask me, which types of communications are most proper on LinkedIn? What should I say? When should I say it? How do I know I'm not going to do something that's going to offend somebody else? So I think the stream of communications kind of goes like this. You see someone you'd like to connect with for a variety of reasons. You send them a personalized connection invitation, like Simon was just sharing with you. It's not a pitch. You don't pitch anything to them at this time. You don't tell them you're looking for a job. You just say, hello, I would be honored to include you in my network. You don't have to use that phrasing. That's an example, but I'm showing you how very, very brief that initial invitation should be. Keep it brief, give them a very short reason why you should be connecting, and hopefully connection will happen. Once it's accepted, then you can send a follow-up message that's still brief, that explains your goals a little bit better. Like, thanks for connecting, John. I'm currently seeking roles at ABC company, or certain kinds of roles, whatever it is for you. I'd be really grateful if you can open any doors for me. May not be your style, but that's the brevity of that message and how that message should go the next time you speak with that person.
Yeah.
And finally, you can begin, once they know you a little bit sort of online and you've had a few of these emails, you can follow up with maybe, again, this idea of reciprocity. Maybe there's an industry related article that you've seen on LinkedIn that you think would be really valuable to this person you just connected with. So share the article with them. You can send a link to it directly through the messaging system, or now you can tag somebody when you're sharing that article, and tagging them notifies them that you'd like them to see what you just posted. And that's a kind of a fun thing to do for people. So I guess the point I want to make on this one is that you don't want to frighten people by coming on too strong. You know, if you've been unemployed for a while or you're very anxious about finding your next job, you may, without meaning to, come on very strong to people because you're looking for that thing that's going to turn your success around. But when you're on LinkedIn, you're really building a relationship. So just kind of take it easy on the way you approach people and manage it the way you would if you were in a I don't know, at an event or a trade show or something like that.
Yeah, agreed. For those of you who are on the line who've worked with me in the past or are currently working with me, this is the hire cycle. See me, like me, trust me, hire me. It's about building a long-term relationship. You don't go from meeting somebody on day one to marrying them on day two, and it's the same kind of principle on LinkedIn. So that's the analogy I tend to use. No, well, sometimes some I have known that to happen, not to me, but
Right.
to people. Okay, we've had a question come in from John. John's asked the question. I can probably deal with this myself. John said, "Is open profile a lion?" Well, lion, John, means LinkedIn Open Networker, and sometimes you'll see on people's headlines, which we're going to come on to shortly, they have this terminology LION. What that means is if you send them a connection request, they're open to connect back to you, whoever you are. They may or may not have a premium account. Generally, lions do. And generally lions will have an open profile, but it's not exactly the same thing. So
I add something there?
yeah, of course you can, go for it.
The lion designation is not approved by LinkedIn. Open profile is what they've given to us for that same purpose. Lion is an independent organization. If you want to become a lion because you're looking to get many connections very quickly, which is not a good strategy, you're basically your name gets on a list, and that list gets passed around to hundreds, thousands of people who have also agreed to be a lion. Really not a good tactic for a professional job seeker. In my opinion, you might disagree, Simon, but in my opinion, I would not agree to be on this list they send around.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't advocate being a lion. Definitely not. Don't put it on your headline. Don't get involved with that because it's not targeted.
Exactly.
It's not targeted at all. It's all about being targeted on LinkedIn. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about skills and endorsements. And I'm going to come back to your question, Pete. Pete said to me, or said to us rather, he said, endorsements. I have folks I haven't met in decades and never worked for endorsing me for skills that are on my LinkedIn profile. Don't people view endorsements as empty calories? Okay, well, it's a great way to lead into this. So what you'll find, Pete, and everyone else on the line, is endorsing somebody for something immediately gets you on their radar. So talking about the liking, commenting, and sharing that we did earlier, it's one way to get people's attention. But clearly, if you're endorsing somebody for something, then really you've got to have some experience of them to make that endorsement real and valid. What LinkedIn did recently, following the Microsoft acquisition, was to change how endorsements works. So you can have up to skills works. I'll start again. How skills and endorsements work. So you can have up to 50 skills that you can pick. And previously you could have 10 that you highlighted as being the most important. Now it's 3. And they are very important now because what the endorsements, and you can see an example on the screen here, what the endorsements do, when people have endorsed you, it tells me, if I'm looking at your profile, if somebody I know has endorsed you, because I'm more likely to trust that endorsement because it's social proof. Or it also tells me if somebody who is highly skilled at the skill they've endorsed you for has endorsed you, which again is social proof for that skill. So endorsements have more value. Plus these top 3 that you select, and you can drag and drop to select your top 3, they feature heavily in LinkedIn's algorithm, which will determine whether LinkedIn pops you in a search result or not. So skills and endorsements, yeah, they can be empty calories, to use your term, Pete, but they can be pretty powerful providing the right people who are endorsing you in terms of social proof and stature in terms of landing in LinkedIn's LinkedIn search results. Victoria, over to you on that one.
You did a beautiful job on that, but I only have 2 other things to say.
Okay.
We're talking about skills and endorsements. They're 2 separate things. Skills come from you, what you do, what you're good at, what you've achieved, what you want to be known for. So you have to be good at or attentive to making sure that the skills you have listed really echo the theme of your profile overall. So let's say keywords that you might use in your headline, keywords and phrases you use in your summary, job descriptions that talk about the same thing. This is the theme of your profile. And when you get down to this skills area, if you've used the rest of your profile to tell people what a great marketer you are or a great something else, and your skills are all about being something else, not related, then it's very likely they will seem trivial and seem like, as Pete said, empty calories. So make sure that you're paying attention to these skills. And as Simon said, the top 3 will show. There are many others that you can put on there and people can endorse you for others. And the other side of that is, LinkedIn is a data-driven platform. So there are bots, little tiny, whatever they are. I don't really know what they are, but bots. And they're LinkedIn's little soldiers. And they will come by profiles on a regular basis to check out who you are and specifically to figure out how you rank against your peers for the same kind of job in the same kind of industry. Where they used to show us how we ranked, they don't show it anymore, which is kind of good because it was distressing sometimes. But now they're still ranking you, they're just not showing you how you rank. And these bots love keywords and they love endorsements because endorsements essentially are keywords about you. So that's why I think they're so important.
Agreed. If you use the website analogy, I'm in a conference tomorrow all about digital marketing, so we're talking about websites and stuff. LinkedIn is a website. This is keywords on LinkedIn, and anyone who's built their own websites or has a website will know the importance of keywords. Okay, we've got a question here from Rob. Rob says, how powerful are written recommendations? Written to support skills and endorsements. Written recommendations, hang on, sorry, let me just dive into that. Written recommendations seem more valuable in terms of social capital relative to skills and endorsements, although I recognize they should also support one another. Okay, well, my view on that, Rob, and I'll flip to Victoria in a second, is the skills that you've selected will help people to get to your profile. Once they're there, and they want to find out more about you, your recommendations will help they're the icing on the cake, if you like, and they are more important in terms of social capital because they have a detailed narrative as to what you specifically did for that particular individual. So the skills help people to find you, it's the keywords, but once they're there and they're reading the content on the website, that content on the website in terms of recommendations is going to encourage people to get in touch. Any thoughts on how the two work together, Victoria?
I think you covered it.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Good. Thank you. We'll have to do this again. All right. let's jump forward. Let's talk about the thing everybody asks about, the LinkedIn headline. And the LinkedIn headline is extremely important. This is mine and Victoria's that I took from our profiles the other day. It's extremely important because it's one of the top 3 things at your profile. You've got the banner, the headline banner, you've got your photo, and then you've got your headline. And for me, your headline has to be very, very focused. For those of you on the line who are my clients, you and I talk about identifying your destination and speaking into that destination. For me, the headline should never be about you seeking or looking to find a new opportunity. There's no value communicated there. For me, it's about 3 things: work, wow, and wonder. And the work bit is, well, okay, what would people be searching for to find you? What is the job title or the description of the type of role that you're looking for or doing? The wow is the value add, the value proposition. How can you communicate that? And the wonder is, well, okay, this is intriguing me to read on. What is it in your LinkedIn headline that would intrigue somebody to read on further down the page? I used to have cornerman in my headline. I'm just experimenting at the moment, and that used to encourage people to read down my LinkedIn profile, and was one of the words that people used when they got in touch with me because it had kind of made them wonder about what that meant. Any thoughts on that, on that, Victoria, headline, how to craft I know you've got lots of icons in yours.
God,
Maybe I
I
need some of those.
could talk about nothing but the headline for an hour. But
Okay.
everything you said, I agree with. I think it's interesting to see our headlines side by side because they accomplish the same goals, but in two very different ways. I'm also testing out this headline. I change my headline every couple of months to see what does better in terms of getting profile views and people connecting. The little pictures, the little icons, emoticons, whichever. I normally do not use and do not encourage people to use, but again, since I was testing something out, they are there. Next month, they may be gone. So that's why it looks like that. But the words themselves, I guess the point I want to make here is that LinkedIn is a gigantic database just like Google. When you go to Google and you want something, you type in a keyword search and up pops all the results, and you probably stick with the first page of results and maybe only the first couple of results on the first page. And you'll find what you want and you'll go read about it and probably buy it or figure out where you can go to buy it. LinkedIn is the same way. So your headline really, you can think of it like a billboard on the highway when you haven't eaten in a while and you've been driving a long time and you really, really need to eat. And this juicy hamburger is showing up on the billboard and it says, turn right here. Well, of course, you're going to turn right there because it's giving you everything you want at that moment.
Yeah.
When people are searching for you, think of it like that, as the billboard, because they have to first, the top part of the profile is called the top card. So the part where you have your banner image, your face, a few details about you, and your headline, that top card is the most shared part of the profile all over LinkedIn and even on Google. If you look someone up on Google, you're going to see the top card of their profile. You've got to go to the profile to get more information about them. And so, as Simon had said, the headline area is designed to drive you to go get that hamburger. That's the point.
Yeah.
It's not doing that, you're not going to get any action.
What with your profile, Victoria, the thing that always gets my attention is this speaking fluent LinkedIn. That's kind of the work and was kind of the wow and the wonder bit, and the resumes is kind of the what I would be searching.
That's why I started using it.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Conscious of time, we've had a quick question in from Pete. I've got your question as well, which we'll come on to. I'll show you that at the end. I think I may not have pronounced this correctly. Luis from Brazil has said, do the emojis affect search results? I think the answer to that is no. Am I correct in that, Victoria,
That's
from
correct.
your perspective?
The bots cannot read images. They can only read words. This is why if you have a YouTube video, you'll do better if you all add the script to the video under that, because the bots can't read images.
Yeah. Okay. Conscious of time, we've got about 5 minutes to get through everything, and then we're going to do some Q&A, but we need to be wrapped up on the hour. Going to have a quick word on Rich Media. I'm just going to pull up my profile here. So Rich Media, this is basically under your summary or your particular roles, adding video content, PDF type content, anything that kind of captures people's attention. For me, it's quite important because it's kind of social proof again. If you've been quoted in a particular, this is me quoted in a particular, it was a show guide for a conference I spoke at. This is Wall Street Journal, this is Financial Times, this is a business magazine, this is a client testimonial, you see video, this is article, I think that's PDF. It's just a visual cue that somebody might want to click and find out a little bit more. So it's kind of social proof. So for me, it's quite important. If you are being quoted, if you have articles or papers that you've written that speak into your target audience, it's a great idea to do that. And the best way to do it is through something called slideshare.net, which LinkedIn owns. That's a two-way sync between SlideShare and LinkedIn. Victoria, very quickly on that, what would you say?
I don't really have a whole lot to add, except that if you're going to add a document as Rich Media, that document will have no cover page, most likely. Let's say it's your resume. It doesn't have a cover page. Without that cover page, it just looks like a bunch of words on a piece of paper. It isn't going to attract attention. It doesn't draw people in. So you may need to create a cover page for your document before you post it as Rich Media on your profile. This can be done in Word because Microsoft Word offers like report covers that are already made, or you can use a graphic editing tool like Canva, C-A-N-V-A. very simple, user-friendly way to create graphic images.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Good. All righty. Couple more questions. Alex, I've got your question as well. We'll come on to that at the end. I'm just going to jump into the last slide here, or penultimate slide, I think the word is. Settings and privacy. This is what everyone's conscious about at the moment. I'm going to pull up the profile again just to show you where to find this. You can find this under here, your photo, settings and privacy, and it shows you all the different privacy settings that you have: privacy, advertising, communications. Any thoughts on this, Victoria? I have some views, but
lots of thoughts. I'll keep it short though. I do strongly encourage everyone to visit their account pages. Many LinkedIn users, I find, don't even know they have these pages. They don't remember setting up their account. They don't know that they can go in here to set their preferences for how your profile appears to others, what kind of information you're willing to share, which types of ads you're willing to receive. Just a plethora of options in this area. And because security is such a hot topic, as Simon said, I am soon, in the next few months, I would say, going to be providing a webinar similar to this one, where I'll walk you through exactly how to select your options on these pages. Because I feel online security, it couldn't possibly be any more important than it is now in this day and age.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. So I think the message for today's webinar, is to have a look at what you're sharing and what you're not sharing, and just make sure that you're happy with those settings. It's fairly self-explanatory. They give you a narrative. If you've got any questions or challenges with that, then send Victoria or I an email, and we'll be happy to deal with those after the webinar is over. Okay, so we've got a few questions coming in. What I'm going to do now, we've got just under 10 minutes left, so going to jump through to the last screen. Before we go on to the questions, Victoria and I were having a chat about, well, okay, if people like what we've said, how do they get in touch? How do they find out more information? What's the next step for anybody on this webinar who is active in the job market or about to be active in the job market? What can they do next? So I put together a little promotion offer type thing. I run an online program. It's called Executive Edge Online. In fact, I'm running the fortnightly group coaching call after tonight's webinar. And I'm going to share the link in the group. I know some of the people on the line are already in it. It's basically the system that I developed from my time in recruitment, that I have recorded content, and there's a fortnightly group coaching call, private LinkedIn group. I do a whole section on LinkedIn going into great detail about the stuff that we've spoken about on this session about how to create your profile. For anyone on this webinar, if you go to the page and the link that I'm going to share with you now and in the email afterwards, if you do that, you'll get 50% off your first month's subscription. So it's £99 normally per month. You can stay as long as you want or as short as you want. And for the first month, to give you an opportunity to try it using this special link, is 50% off. So I've shared that with you there. If you'd like to take a look at that, have a watch of the video. It'll explain a lot more. Victoria, you want people to get in touch with you about a certain thing that you can help them with as well. Is that correct?
Yes, they can find me on LinkedIn, obviously. We have several packages we offer, the job seeker package, the professional package, and the executive package, as well as some individual options for practically any budget. So whether you have a big budget or not, there'll be something there you can use to help yourself be positioned to tap into this hidden job market. That's what we're all trying to do here.
Yeah, in the follow-up email from the webinar, I'm going to include a link to what I've just shared with you, and also a link to Victoria's LinkedIn profile. If you want more information on her services and how she can help, then please feel free to contact her directly about that. This webinar is about sharing valuable content with you. It's not about selling stuff, but we recognize that if we've communicated something and you want to find out more, we should give you an opportunity to do that. So that's what that is really all about. Okay, we are very short of time, so we're going to deal with some questions. So I'm going to jump back to Pete's question here. So if you've got questions, please type them in. We'll run till the hour. Pete said, how do you find the button where you let recruiters know that you're available? Okay, so in LinkedIn, if I go here, Pete, If you go to jobs and career interests, it's there. Okay. Next question. Alex says, I think I know the answer to this, but picture is critical. A picture is critical on a LinkedIn profile. If I don't connect with people that don't have a picture, and when people have their companies as the picture, when it's an individual profile, again, I'm quite reserved about doing that because there's company pages on LinkedIn. So I think this is critical. A cropped headshot, professional headshot. And also the banner, which a lot of people don't do much with, but this is valuable real estate that you can communicate something about you and what your specialism is. Victoria, anything on the photo or the headline at all for Alex?
Everything you said about the photo is you need to look warm, approachable, friendly, open. Some people look very scary in their pictures. We don't want to give that impression. So if you need a new picture, you should definitely get it. It doesn't have to be done professionally as long as you appear professional in the picture. Also, I wanted to say about the banner image. Simon, being in business for himself, can do this lovely banner image. Most job seekers are not in a position to do that. There are a number of different ways to still give you a banner image that really pops when you're listed in search results. So if you want to know more about that, drop me a message. I will share the information with you.
Okay, good. Can you give us a clue as to what?
Yes.
I'll be quite. Can you give a 30-second overview as to what that is with the banners?
Definitely. You can go to a stock image site and download an image you like. It can be a block of color that really pops out. That block of color can also have some kind of layered feel to it, so it doesn't just look like it plopped a block of color down there. You can also use paint. Well, I have a PC. Some people use Apple, but in my world, you can use paint in order to add words on top, layered on top of that block of content, so that your headline is this beautiful color and also has words in it. And those words might be, let's say you're looking for project management role. You can literally put the words on your banner image, project management. It makes a beautiful banner image and it really pops out.
The site that you can use as well, it gives you the custom size for LinkedIn, is something called Canva, Canva. I don't know whether you've used that, Victoria. It's a free to use.
I don't need to anymore, but I have used it in the past.
Yeah, free to use bit of kit here. You can use that if you wish. You just sign up for an account and you're good to go. So that's quite useful bit of kit. We've got a couple more questions. John and Stuart have asked a very, very similar question. John has said, how do I maximize the headline as a job seeker to be known, to be a known available candidate without stating outright? And Stuart says, I know from your book, how good you read the book, Stuart, thank you for that, that you do not advocate describing yourself as available, actively looking. However, during the course of conversation with an agent today, he recommended that I add a post to such effect which he and some colleagues would like, and therefore share my profile with a greatly expanded network. Okay, so I do not advocate that you talk about you're actively seeking a position. My reason for saying that is because as a recruiter, as an employer, they don't really care whether you're looking for a job. To some extent, it's irrelevant. What is more relevant is, do you stand out and do you have the skills and experience they're looking for? And if you do, then there is a probability that they will get in touch. If you are using this to communicate that you are available immediately, you are kind of buying, let me use an analogy here, you're buying a really expensive piece of land and building a really, really small house on it, when you could have built a really big house and got everybody's attention. Okay, so it's really valuable real estate. You can communicate your current situation, but the place to do that for me is in here in the summary. Okay, your message to the market is not about your need for a job. It's not about that. What it's about is your personal brand, your thought leadership, your skills and experience. That's the message to the market. The fact that you happen to be available or not available, yes, it's very relevant to people in the job market, but it's less relevant to the person you're trying to get in touch with. Anything on that, Victoria?
I think
30 seconds on that.
Yes, people who are currently unemployed probably have this question a lot. Well, I'm not working at ABC company anymore, so what do I put in my headline? And the answer is You either rely on the skills you already have as keywords, or there's even a strategy, which we don't have time for now, where you can use keywords related to the job you want to have. So there are two options there that are great options. So you don't have to write seeking my next challenge or looking for a job. Those phrases are not searchable in any way. There are no keywords, nothing about it that will help you be found in a search. And that's another reason why that's a poor strategy.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, we're out of time. Louise has just popped in one last question. It says, Simon, how much time as a recruiter do you spend browsing or screening your profile? Okay, so as a recruiter, back in the day, I would spend a lot longer on a LinkedIn profile than I would on a CV or resume. And I would often use the CV or resume to direct me to the LinkedIn profile, which is why you need your LinkedIn profile on your CV or resume. But it's different. It depends how well you capture the person's interest at the start, how long they stay on your profile. Much the same as when you land on an individual website. Do you bounce off it? What's your bounce percentage? Or do you stay there because something captures your interest? Okay, Victoria, thank you ever so much for joining me. I know it's
always a pleasure.
Late lunch where you are now, so I'll let you get off. It's evening here. I'm off to in 15 minutes off to run Executive Edge online group coaching course. So if some of you are joining me there, I'll see you on the separate link shortly. The big thank you, of course, though, goes to all of you taking time out of your day or evening to join us. I'm going to process the recording. I'll get that across to you tomorrow via email, and you will have received an email in your inbox that has the stuff that I spoke to you about at the end that Victoria and I are offering to you as a result of attending this webinar. Just have a quick check in your spam folder. Sometimes the emails can land in there. Just have a quick check. If you've got any queries or questions, then you know where to find us. And have a great rest of day. Have a great rest of evening. And we'll no doubt do another collaboration, Victoria. What do you say?
I hope so, Simon. I hope so.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.